Human body systems. Today we will be taking notes on the digestive system. The main function of the digestive system is to break food down into chyme, which is smaller molecules to be taken to the cells for the body's use and health, absorb nutrients into the digestive tract and the blood, and to store and eliminate waste. Now the main structures of the digestive system are the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. At this time, you will need to create some notes in your ISN. So if you can get out your science notebook, turn to the next clean page, and at the top, you will label the top of the page digestive system. You will write down the main function is to break food down into smaller molecules for body, absorb nutrients for energy, store and eliminate waste. On the next page, write down the main structures of the digestive system: mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. At any time during this video, if you need extra time to continue to write down your notes, you can press pause on the video and then push play when you are ready to move on. There is an energy transfer with digestion, and that energy transfer is chemical energy from your food into thermal energy, which is heat energy. And our body uses this heat energy to maintain a proper and good body temperature. Remember, we've talked about homeostasis before. That is the body's ability to maintain equilibrium or a good balance inside. So our body doesn't want to be too hot nor too cold. So this heat energy keeps our body temperature at the right place. Okay, you're going to create some notes again. The energy transfer with digestion is chemical energy to thermal energy. Now, moving through the digestive tract, we're going to start with the mouth. This is where food enters the body. Food needs to be broken down into smaller pieces so you can swallow the pieces. Mechanical and chemical digestion do happen, both of them happen in the mouth. Mechanical digestion is when the teeth are just physically breaking the food up into smaller pieces. Chemical digestion is when the saliva that contains enzymes like amylase, they chemically break down the food further. Now a bolus is food that is chewed up into a soft, flexible mass that will be moved to the stomach. So when you feel like a big mushy piece of food in your mouth, that is called a bolus. If you look over here on the right hand side, I have indicated the location of the mouth with the yellow star. For your notebook, you will write down mouth, food enters here. Mechanical digestion, teeth break up food into smaller pieces. Chemical digestion, enzymes and saliva chemically break down food. Now past the mouth, the food will move through the esophagus. The esophagus carries food from the mouth to the stomach in a wave-like muscle contraction that moves the food to the stomach called peristalsis. There is an epiglottis. This is a flap of tissue that prevents swallowed food from entering the airway, which leads to the lungs. We definitely do not want to swallow our food into our airway as we would choke. So this epiglottis helps close off the airway and allows the food to move down the esophagus. On the right-hand side, we have notated the location of the esophagus. It is this long tube that leads to the stomach. In your science notebook, you will write down esophagus. Food passes down this tube into the stomach by a muscular contraction called peristalsis. Now, after the food is passed through the esophagus, it ends up in the stomach. This is the organ that contains a mixture of digestive enzymes and acids that help break down food. Mechanical and chemical digestion also occur in the stomach. Mechanical digestion is when the muscles of the stomach grind and churn the food into smaller pieces. Chemical digestion in the stomach is when the hydrochloric acid and enzymes that are in the stomach break apart the food, which is large molecules, into smaller molecules. Now, of course, we've heard of the word chyme. By the time the food is ready to leave the stomach, it is a thick liquid called chyme. If you look over on the right-hand side, you will see the location of the stomach that's indicated by a yellow star. For your science notebook, you will write down stomach, break down food, mechanical digestion, muscles in the stomach churn food into smaller pieces, chemical digestion, hydrochloric acid and enzymes break apart large food molecules, and chyme, a thick liquid from digested food. Okay, past the stomach, the food, which is now known as chyme, that thick liquid digested food, okay, chyme, will move into the small intestine. The small intestine absorbs the nutrients from food which will enter the blood. Chemical digestion occurs in the small intestine. Chyme moves into the small intestine. Enzymes from the pancreas and bile from the liver help chemically break down the chyme further. Inside the small intestine are villi. These are finger-like structures that help absorb the nutrients. The liver is part of the digestive system. It produces bile, which helps break down food. And the pancreas is also part of the digestive system. It produces enzymes that help digest proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. If we look on the right-hand side of the screen, we will see the small intestine is very long. The tube itself, it looks like it is just crunched inside of the abdomen. Okay, it's much longer in length than the large intestine, but it's smaller in size. The small intestine is indicated here with a yellow arrow. The liver, a red star, and the pancreas, a blue star. In your science notebook, you will write down small intestine absorbs nutrients from food with the help of villi. Villi are finger-like structures that help with the absorption of nutrients. The liver produces bile to break down fats, and the pancreas gives enzymes to break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. That's all during digestion. If you need some extra time, please press pause and press play when you're ready to move on. So past the small intestine is the large intestine, and the large intestine's main job is to absorb water. So the large intestine absorbs the remaining water that is left in the undigested food. Now, feces is the solid remaining waste left over from digestion. If you look on the right-hand side, you see the yellow star, and it shows where the location of the large intestine is. Again, in size and in width, the large intestine looks much bigger than the small intestine. Okay, and it actually is on the outside where the small intestine runs on the inside. So here is the large intestine. Again, it absorbs the remaining water from the undigested food. Over here, that is attached to the large intestine is another structure called the appendix. You may have heard of appendicitis before. We can actually live without our appendix. If it gets infected, you can have it removed. Okay, so for your science notebook, you're going to write down large intestine absorbs water from undigested food, and feces are solid waste. Okay, so after the large intestine, the solid waste actually will move to the rectum. The rectum receives feces from the large intestine and holds the feces until it is moved to the anus for evacuation. Now, the anus is just the exit point for the feces. It's surrounded by a sphincter muscle that helps feces exit the body as a bowel movement. So in your science notebook, what you will write down is rectum holds feces and solid waste, and anus is the exit point for evacuation of feces. Okay, at this time we are going to label the digestive tract. And here we have the labeling of the digestive tract, starting with the mouth, down the esophagus, then to the stomach, then into the small intestine, then to the large intestine, then to the rectum, and then of course what would be out the anus. Okay, that is the end of our digestive system notes.